Have you just got the Sims 4 base game? You've never played The Sims before. You have no idea what you're doing. What do all the buttons mean? How do you actually play The Sims? I'm here to help you, my friends. Sit back, relax, grab a drink, open your Sims game so that you can follow along with what I'm doing. Hi, hey, hello. My name is Sarah and welcome to another Sims 4 for Beginners video. This is part 2 of what is probably going to be a 3-part series on The Sims 4 for Beginners. In part 1, which was the last video, I actually covered what is known as Create a Sim or CAS, which is all about actually making your Sims, going over the fine details of them, choosing outfits, hairstyles, eye color, choosing a name, their traits, the things that make them actual people with personalities. So if you haven't seen that video and you have no idea what you're doing with Create a Sim, I will link it in the pinned comment down below. I highly recommend checking out that one before we check out this one. In this video, we're going to be covering things like moving Sims into a neighborhood and even having a look at the neighborhoods that come with the base game. We're going to have a look at the basics of caring for our Sims, looking at their needs, talking more about plumb bobs. There's going to be a lot going on in this video. So with that being said, let's jump into The Sims 4 and let's get started. Alright you guys, straight away we are picking up right where we left off at the end of last video. So we've just pressed the big tick in the bottom right corner of the Create a Sim window, and we're now here on this screen with our family that we've made. You'll see them down in the bottom left corner. It's the Vu family and they have funds of 20,000 simoleons. Now, simoleons is the currency for the Sims, and this symbol here, this funny looking S symbol, is the symbol for simoleons. So our Sims have 20,000 simoleons currently. Congratulations to our Sims. Let's get started. This is the screen that says select a world to move into. We're choosing where we want our Sims to live. In the base game, we have 3 worlds available to us. They are Willow Creek, which Willow Creek is a lush bayou of rolling hills intertwined with marshy riverways. It's home to long-standing reputations and simple lifestyles full of coastal hospitality. Convenient with town comforts, lively neighbors, and a grandeur of property possibilities, Willow Creek is the idyllic place to settle down and settle in. The next neighborhood that we've got is Oasis Springs, and it looks completely different to Willow Creek so far. So Oasis Springs is an oasis nestled in the austere beauty of the Western Desert. This haven of eclectic culture is fringed by countless soaring palms and lent vibrant color through impossibly lush landscaping. It sounds very fancy, doesn't it? Oasis Springs offers relaxing retreats from the sun to any traveler who discovers it. And then the third option is Newcrest, which is different once again. So it says, don't let the abundance of space fool you. Take a look around, admire the wonderful scenery, and explore the endless possibilities. Do you see it? This is your whole new world. What are you waiting for? I want to take a look with you at these 3 neighborhoods that come with the base game so that you can make a decision on where you would like your Sims to move into. So I'm going to start by clicking on Willow Creek, and Willow Creek is then going to load the map. So welcome to Willow Creek. Now there is a lot to look at right here. I know, it's totally okay. We can break down this map that we are seeing into 5 separate quadrants, okay? And you can treat these 5 quadrants of the map kind of like different neighborhoods within this world. The basic option for living in Willow Creek, we can actually take a look at where this red house icon is Foundry Cove. This is what is known as the starter area of the map. It's where you'll find the cheapest housing options. So Foundry Cove is the starter area for Willow Creek. It has the starter homes, as they're called, which are basically houses that are equipped and in the price range for Sim families that have 20,000 simoleons, which is also known as a starter home budget, 20,000 simoleons. But Foundry Cove, located in southern Willow Creek, Foundry Cove has lots of character and its share of characters. Residents enjoy modest homes with a canal nearby for fishing and a charming active railroad. Now you'll see in Foundry Cove, there's 4 houses and there is 1 vacant block of land. We are always given an option to be able to build our own home if we like, but specifically I should just say with that, I'm not going to show you how to build homes. I'm not really that confident in building homes myself in the Sims 4, so I don't feel like I am equipped to give you all of the information on the tools and the tips of building homes in The Sims 4. That being said, my fellow Australian creator Deligracy, she has made an absolutely incredible building basics video for beginners in The Sims 4. That was a tongue twister. I will link Deligracy's video in the pinned comment down below, her video on the beginner's guide to building in The Sims 4. I highly recommend checking that out. It's just going to be way more informed from someone who is actually a competent builder in The Sims 4. But I don't think you're quite ready to build your own home just yet. There's still a couple more things that I feel like I need to show you first, so stick with this video. So the other houses that you'll see that we've got one here that has this little icon above it, this little plum bob symbol. We've talked about the plum bobs before. We talked about them briefly in the last video. We're going to be talking more about plum bobs in this video. When you see this icon above a house, it means that there is a family living there. So if I hover over this house, it says you must choose an unoccupied lot for your household because there is already someone living there. Then you'll see the other houses that are here, and they all have green boxes around it, and so does the vacant block of land. The green boxes around a home, like this little green outline that you're seeing here, that means that our family that we currently have, the Vu family down in the bottom left here that have 20,000 simoleons, they can afford to move into a house with a green border around it. That means we can afford to move in there. We could choose any of these to move into, and we would still have some funds left over to be able to do the basics of living. So taking a look, if you hover over any of these houses, and I'm not going to do it for every single one of these houses, I'm just going to tell you the information that we can get just by hovering our mouse over one of these houses. So it'll firstly tell you what the name of the lot is. So this lot is called the Streamlet Single. It is a residential home. It comes on a 20 by 15 size lot, which is something that Deligracy probably went over in the build video, but basically there's different size lots. This is a pretty small size lot. As a matter of fact, I think it's the smallest size lot. But it basically just lets you know the size of the lot. It'll also show you that this house in particular has one bedroom. We've got this little bed icon and there's a 1 next to it. That means there's one bedroom. And then the toilet icon there means there is also one bathroom. And that this house does cost 15,415 simoleons. If we click on this house, we have in the bottom right corner the option to confirm with this truck. That means that yes, we do want to move into that house, but I don't want to do that just yet. In the bottom left corner, we have this home icon that has an eye in it. It says info panel. If I click on that, it'll actually give us some more information on the house that we are looking at. So the Streamlet Single, 15,415 simoleons, and it says a simple starter home for a singleton or a couple. It just gives you a little bit of extra information. If we decide that we don't want to live in this house, that's totally fine. I can just click somewhere else on the map and that will go away. And we're back to just having our Vu family still trying to find somewhere to move into. There's other neighborhoods in Willow Creek as well. You'll see that these houses in this neighborhood over here are slightly bigger than these ones here. And then in this neighborhood over here, you'll see the homes are even bigger than what we've seen. And then over here, you'll see that the houses are the biggest that we've seen. So you can kind of get a gauge for the average wealth of the Sims that would be living there and whether or not our Sims can afford to live in those neighborhoods. If you decide that you don't want your Sims to live in Willow Creek, that's totally fine. We can have a look at the other neighborhoods we saw before. Up in the top left of the screen, we have this button that says go back to World Select. If we press on that, it takes us back to this screen where we can then choose Oasis Springs or Newcrest to have a look at as well. So let's have a look at Oasis Springs. And this is the map for Oasis Springs. So it's set out differently at each different world. They have different layouts. They're laid out differently. They have different themes. They look very different to one another. So this time, the starter home area in Oasis Springs is actually over with this dinosaur icon, which is going to sound really strange, but it's called Bedrock Strait. Residents of this delightfully kitschy neighborhood take pride in their billboards and lawn gnomes. And who wouldn't love getting to say hello to Barry the Brontosaurus every morning? The reason it says that is because if you choose a home in this area, the starter home area, or the vacant block of land, if you take a look around in the background, there is a big brontosaurus called Barry, apparently. I didn't know his name was Barry, but yes, I've seen Barry the Brontosaurus many times in my gameplay. Just the world around where we're living is so detailed. The Sims team do a really great job of giving us a home base for our Sims, but also making the world around our Sims feel very full of life and very true to life as well. So we do have 3 starter homes here. We've got a vacant lot and we do have an already occupied lot here. The next neighborhood again is this one down here, Parched Prospect, and you'll see the houses are slightly bigger and there's none that our Sims can afford except for the vacant lot. And then over the other side of the map where the bell is the next most expensive area. And then over here with this orange icon, we've got the big mansions of the area. The other neighborhood that we have to look at though is Newcrest, and Newcrest is different to the other neighborhoods, to any other neighborhood that we will get. And that's because you come in here and you'll see there's no houses here. The whole point of Newcrest is you build your own homes. So when you feel like you're ready to start delving into building your own homes, come and visit Newcrest and see if you can maybe build a home for your Sims. There's a whole heap of different lots of different sizes. We've got some 20 by 15 lots that we mentioned before. We've got some 30 by 20 lots. We've got a 40 by 30 lot. We've got 40 by 20, 30 by 20. And then the biggest lot we've got here is actually a 50 by 40 lot. So because there's no homes here, we're not going to move our Sims into Newcrest, okay? As a matter of fact, I think we're going to move them into Oasis Springs because I want to show you Barry the Brontosaurus, okay? I want to show you. So I'm going to choose one of the starter homes here. We've got 3 different starter homes here. They're all 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom. So maybe we'll go with the Nookstone residential home. So like I mentioned before, when we're ready to move into our house, we've found a house, we're excited, we're like, yes, this is the house I want to move my Sims into. We do have this truck button down in the right that says confirm, and it's going to come up with a message saying the Vu household is moving. Could this be the perfect home? And it's going to show us our Sims, the preview of our family, and it's going to say remaining funds, and for us it's 7,041 simoleons. So what that's saying is after the Vu family purchase this home, which they're about to do, they're going to have 7,041 simoleons remaining that they can use to either change some furniture, buy some more furniture, or just hold on to for when the bills come and things like that. We do have options when buying a home. You'll see select an option here. Furnished is the default option for this particular listing, but there's also the option to buy this home without any furniture. If we press that, our remaining funds changes to 12,521 simoleons, but that does mean this house is going to be completely empty and you would have to furnish it yourself, which you can if you like. And then we do also have the option to bulldoze the lot entirely, make it a completely flat space of land for you to then build your own home. That is an option as well. And if you decide to do that, it makes our household's remaining funds 18,500 simoleons. I personally, for this video, I'm going to keep the house furnished, and then we're going to press purchase home. And then it's going to take just a little second for the game to move our Sims in. So we're going to have this loading screen here, which generally has some tips of playing the game. So keep an eye out on them. It'll have some funny little random moments and it will give us some tips from time to time. So here we are, our family in front of the house that we have just bought. There is a lot that I need to show you on this screen right now. The very first things I'm going to show you is the controls for playing the game and pausing the game, because currently I've paused the game. So if we have a look down the very bottom of the screen in the middle, you'll see this here, it says paused, and we've got a whole lot of great big buttons. Now you can click on each of these buttons to do things, like if I press this normal speed play button here, you'll see then that time is ticking. Sunday 8:03, 8:04, 8:05, and then I've just pressed the pause symbol to pause the game. So we can press the buttons with, like, click on them with our mouse, but we can also press some buttons on our keyboard. That's what I prefer to do, pressing buttons on my keyboard, because I use my mouse for other things, controlling other things. I'm right-handed, so I use my mouse with my right hand, and I generally have my left hand resting on my keyboard at the buttons that control playing and pausing the game. In order to play the game, to take it off pause, I'm going to press the number 1 button, and the game is now playing the game. Look, she gave him a kiss on the cheek. That was so lovely. In order to pause the game, I'm going to press the button next to the number 1 button on the left side, which is like the one that has the little squiggle on it. That button will pause the game. So play is number 1, Pause is that little squiggle button. And then there's a couple of other buttons as well that we can press in regards to playing the game. So before I mention those other buttons though, I'm just going to quickly mention that the time that passes in The Sims, a full 24-hour day within The Sims equates to 24 minutes in real life. 1 hour in The Sims is equal to 1 minute in real life. So to go from 8 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock in the morning in The Sims is going to take 1 minute in real life. I just felt like I needed to explain that. Because when we are playing the game, we can actually have a couple of options to make time go a little bit faster. Say our sim is sleeping in bed and time is going really slow, we can afford for time to go a little bit faster. If we press the number 2 button on our keyboard, or this button that says fast speed here with our mouse, if we press that, time will go a little bit faster. You'll see time is ticking a little bit faster than it was just before. And if we want time to go even faster, we've got this ultra speed, and we can also press the number 3 on our keyboard to make it go very fast. But keep an eye out because things can get a little bit out of hand. It can get a little bit crazy on triple speed. So that's the basics of time. The other thing I need to mention is The Sims does work on a full calendar week as well. Like we do have the days Sunday to Monday and 24 hours of the day. So it's very realistic in that. There is one more button down here that I haven't spoken about yet, and it is this one. This is the camera options button, and it gives us the option to take a screenshot. We just took a screenshot. I'm actually going to delete that screenshot because I don't want it anymore. We also have the option under camera options to take a short video. We can do that. Or we've got the screenshot capture manager, which basically gives us a list of all of the screenshots that have been taken. These are actually the screenshots that I have taken in my games before. These are all Sims that I know and love very dearly, and it's very nice to see them. So these are all screenshots that I've taken in game. They kind of look like photos, and that's because these pictures, except for this one of the Sim holding the knife, but every other one that you are seeing here, my Sim actually took a photo on her phone, and that's what's created these photos essentially. This one was taken by simply going and taking a screenshot just like this. So just like the time, we can press these buttons, like click on these with our mouse, or there are keyboard shortcuts as well. So to take a screenshot using your keyboard, you press the C button and it takes a screenshot. To take a video, you press the V button, and you'll see now we've got this yellow border around the edge of the screen that lets us know that I am in fact recording a video. And when I want to stop, I'm going to press the V button again. But if you want to access the screenshot capture manager, there is no shortcut for that. You have to actually click on that yourself. And here we can actually click on all of these and take a look at the full photo in detail, which is really nice. And actually, I've just learnt something myself. I knew that the screenshot manager existed and that you could delete screenshots from here, but I did not know about this button here, which says make confident memory. I'm supposed to be the expert telling you guys stuff, and I didn't know about that. So that's interesting. I'm not entirely sure what that does. If anyone who is an expert is watching this video, maybe let us know down in the comments down below. What effect does that have? I'm assuming that it says make a confident memory because the Sim taking the photo was in a confident mood when she took the photo. I'm assuming that's why it says make confident memory. And with that being said as well, if anyone who is also an expert Sims player is watching and has some tips or some knowledge that I have not shared in this video, also leave it in the comments down below so any beginners can check out the comments as well for some more information. I think we're finally going to steer away from that little panel of screen though. There is still so much that I want to show you, and specifically now I think we're going to take a look at the bottom left hand of the screen, because here you'll see we've got our 2 Sims that we have here. We've got Lorraine and we've got Hank. They're both here, right? You'll see there is this bigger image of Hank here, and that is because currently we are controlling Hank. If I hover over his little picture here and I double click on that, it's going to take us to where Hank is on the screen, and you'll see he's got a plumb bob over his head, and that lets us know that we are currently in control of Hank. If I want to change control to Lorraine, there's a couple of ways that I can do that. Firstly, double clicking on her little picture down here will change the plump bob to be over Lorraine, meaning we are in fact in control of her. There is also a way to do this on keyboard with a keyboard shortcut, so I've gone back to controlling Hank for a minute so I can show you. If we press the space bar on our keyboard, it will also change control to Lorraine. You can see the plump bob is now over Lorraine's head. Some things to take note of though, and I've gone back to Hank specifically for this. There's a couple of icons down here that I need to show you. Firstly, I'm going to start down here where it says fine. All of these messages that come up here, it's got a color and it has a word. And this here tells us how our sim is feeling. Our sim Hank, he is feeling fine. If we take a look at Lorraine though, she's got a yellow color and she's actually feeling embarrassed. And that's because I heard before while I was telling you about some stuff. She and Hank were talking. She maybe made a joke or tried flirting with Hank and he wasn't ready for that, and she ended up feeling embarrassed from it. And we can find out more about why she is embarrassed by this little image of the turtle. This image down here is what is known as a moodlet, and your sims as you're playing will gather multiple moodlets based on interactions they have with other sims, based on things that they do like having a good night's sleep, eating a nice meal, taking a shower, even down to whether your sim has a painting in their house that they like or they've read a good book. Things like that will give your sims a moodlet, which actually controls how your sim is feeling, the mood that your sim is in. It's very cool, it's very detailed, it is the most detailed of the entire Sims franchise. So let's look at why Lorraine is embarrassed. If we hover over this turtle, it says awkward comment from socialization. Why oh why did Lorraine say that? And you'll see it says 19 minutes underneath that, and that means that her feeling embarrassed over saying something awkward will last for 19 more minutes, and after that 19 minutes is done, she won't feel embarrassed anymore. So we might just watch that for a minute. You'll see now that I've unpaused the game, the turtle icon is actually flashing, and that happens when a moodlet is close to expiring, when it's close to going away, when it's close to being over. So 3, 2, 1.
Arpanaya Bonangrabe. Kisnoy.
And there we go. So that moodlet expired, it ran out. She is no longer feeling embarrassed from saying something awkward. She is now also feeling fine. So your sims can feel so many things. Embarrassed is one of them. They can also feel happy, they can feel playful, they can feel inspired, they can feel angry, they can feel uncomfortable, they can feel so many different things, just like we can in real life. So if ever you're unsure as to what a sim is feeling, have a look down here at the word that it will say here and the color. You'll eventually get to know what mood they're feeling based on the color you're seeing here, and also based on the color that is surrounding their portrait. You'll get to know what your sim is feeling. Oh, this sim has orange around her portrait. She must be feeling uncomfortable. I should see why she's uncomfortable. Or this sim's got purple around his image. He must be feeling focused. I wonder what has made him focused. And you can take a look at the moodlets that they have listed to see why they are feeling the way that they are feeling. Having a look at some of the other things we are seeing down in this left-hand corner, we are also seeing below our sim's big portrait here, we do have our household funds here. So if ever you're unsure of how much money our sim's house currently has, we have 7,441 simoleons that is listed here. We do have 3 more buttons down here as well. We do have this first one, which is a notebook. As our sims are learning things and playing through the game, they may write some things down in their notebook. You might see some messages pop up about our sims learnt about a new type of fish and has written the details about this fish in their notebook. If you open the notebook, you'll see the information that the sim has learnt. The button next to the notebook is our sim's phone, and it looks just kind of like a smartphone. It has different apps to choose from that do different things. It even has a little battery symbol in the top, but don't worry, that battery never depletes. You don't have to do anything to charge your sim's phone. It's fine. If ever our sim gets a phone call, there'll be this little pop-up message that happens above the phone, and it'll say incoming call. It'll say either from unknown caller or from a sim that we know if we happen to have made friends with someone, maybe they're calling us, and it'll have like this little icon of that sim's face and their name, or an unknown sim if we don't know the sim. To answer it, you press on the phone and it will answer the phone call. It'll come up with a message in the middle of the screen to say this is what the phone call is, essentially. But having a look at the features on our phone, firstly, we've got the option to put our phone on silent, which I also didn't know was a thing. The things that I am learning in this video, that is crazy. I didn't know that we could put our Sim's phone on silent. That's amazing. We also have the option to change our Sim's phone background color to any of these colors that you are seeing up here. Let's make Lorraine's pink, because why not? We also have the option to change our Sim's phone cover, which is gonna sound really strange looking at it like this. So I have given Lorraine the option to change her phone cover, and that is because when your Sims are using their phone, when we tell them to do something on their phone, they will actually pull their phone out of their pocket. You can see this is Lorraine's phone here in her hand, and she's just changed her phone cover to be this pink one that I told her to make it to. If I press that again, we'll make it a different color. Maybe we'll make it blue this time. Let's see her change her phone color to be blue. There we go, she's just changed it to blue and white stripy. So you can change your Sim's phone cover just like we can in real life as well. But back to the phone though, having a look at the apps. There's multiple different apps. Entertainment is the first app. If we click on that, it tells us that we can browse the web or play a game. If we decide that we don't want to do anything in the entertainment category, we can press this arrow down here, which will take us back to the main screen, and we can choose a different app. So I'm actually not gonna go through all of the apps on the phone. I encourage you to do that and get familiar with some of the things that we can do from the phone, because there's some very, very essential gameplay things like calling the fire department, things like paying bills can all be done from your phone, as well as things like calling your friend or even finding a job can all be done through the phone. So I encourage you to take a look through the phone's apps and get familiar with them yourself. Hey! Did you know that 73% of you watching right now are not subscribed to my YouTube channel? If you'd be interested in seeing some fun Sims 4 gameplay, if you'd like to see some build videos, some creator sim videos, or if you'd just like some gameplay with a little bit of drama sprinkled here and there, hit the subscribe button down below and come and join my wonderful little community. With that being said, let's get back into the video. Next to the phone button though, we do have this button that says show calendar. Now I mentioned that the Sims 4 does function on a standard 24-hour a day, 7-day week system, and here we have the Vu's household calendar. There's different phases of the moon through to the full moon there, all throughout, fantastic. And then at the very end of the calendar, you'll see it says birthdays here. We've got this picture of Lorraine and there is a birthday cake icon. If we click on this day, which is Saturday in 4 weeks time, and then here we've got birthdays. It is Lorraine's birthday on this day, apparently, which is very, very exciting. So in the calendar though, it will always bring up the day that we are currently playing. So we have Sunday highlighted because we are currently playing through Sunday in Oasis Springs. We have the option to create our own events, but I'm not going to do that in this video because we're just looking at what these buttons do in this video. We'll get into the gameplay aspects of them in the next video. So I'm actually going to exit out of the calendar now. I can do that by pressing this X in the top corner there. And there's really only a couple more things that I need to mention about the bottom left side of the screen. Now you'll see we've got Lorraine here. She's happy now because she's been talking with Hank and she's got a deep connection from socialization, which will last for 4 hours, and that has made her feel happy, which is very, very nice. Now you'll be seeing above Lorraine's head, there's these little thought bubble clouds, and there's these pictures within those thought bubble clouds. These thought bubble clouds are known as whims, and they are things that our sim wants to do, and doing these things is going to make our sim happy. Okay, there's so many different whims and they're all decided based on things that our sim likes to do or our sim's personality traits. So here we do have go for a jog. Lorraine wants to go for a jog, and that comes from her bodybuilder aspiration. She wants to be a bodybuilder. Because of that, she's an active sim. She wants to tell a joke, and that comes from her having the goofball trait. So she likes joking around, she likes telling jokes, having funny interactions. That's why she wants to tell a joke. One more thing I need to mention about this side of the screen is down here. You'll currently see we've got a couple of little icons happening here. You'll see this image of a person sitting down. That is showing us that Lorraine is sitting down on the couch, okay? This here is what is known as the queue. And that tells us what our sim is currently doing, and we can also add things to our sim's queue and they will eventually do those things in the queue. If we wanted her to stand up, we could click on that and it will cross it out and she will stand up in just a moment. Once she's done there. See, she stood up. So now Lorraine has nothing in her queue. We can tell her to do some things. So say, for example, I want her to watch the TV that is on. If I click on the TV, we've got multiple options. She can watch whatever channel is currently playing. She can also select another channel to watch by pressing watch channel. And then we've got a list of different channels to choose from. Or we can press channel surf and she'll just flick between channels. I think I just want her to watch what is currently playing. So I'm going to press watch current channel and you'll see the TV has now appeared in her queue. And as it moves down into this position, that means she is currently watching the TV. And that is the entire left-hand corner of the screen, right? That is all of that we need to know about. There is some more things that we need to know about, though, on the right-hand side of the screen. The bottom right-hand side of the screen, we've got a lot of little icons down there. And I'm actually going to start with the very far bottom right corner. We've got this little face that has a little arrow next to it. This is the needs button, and I'm going to click on that, and here you can see there's a list of different things like hunger, energy, hygiene, social, fun, and bladder. And this is telling us how our sim is currently feeling in regards to all of those things. So you can see out of all of these, her bladder level is the lowest, meaning she's going to need to go to the toilet. She doesn't currently need to go to the toilet, but she will eventually. When these needs are all in the green, or all green like they are here, that means that the need is doing good. Our sim doesn't actually have to act on those needs to fix them because they're feeling good. Because she's watching the TV, her fun is actually going up because we're doing something that is making her have fun. Because she's talking to Hank, her social need is also going up because we're doing something that is social. If you hover over each of these needs, it's going to give you some ideas on things that you can do in order to increase these needs to make our sim feel better. But as time passes and our sim isn't acting on some other needs, they'll eventually go down. We've got these little red arrows that will appear over some of the needs, meaning that that need is slowly depleting. So you'll see our bladder need is slightly lower than it was before. And eventually they're going to change color. When they become yellow, like Lorraine's bladder need here has become yellow, that's when you sort of need to start looking at maybe doing something to help make that need feel better. Like Lorraine currently isn't desperate for the toilet, but she could probably go and use the toilet and that would make her feel a little bit better. Over time, if we don't fulfill a need that is in the yellow, it will then eventually change to red. And when a need changes to red, that's when things are getting a little bit serious. You'll see next to the bladder bar here, we've actually got this little symbol that says has to pee from low bladder. Lorraine needs to go to the bathroom soon. Becomes really has to pee in 3 hours. And what that means is we have 3 hours to get Lorraine to go to the toilet before she becomes absolutely bursting for the toilet. We need to be keeping an eye on our sim's needs from time to time to make sure that none of these are getting drastically low. You'll be able to keep a good eye on that based on the plumb bob that is above our sim's head. You'll see it's no longer green, it's orange. It's a good way of letting you know how your sim is feeling. It'll change from green to orange to red. If your sim has a red plumb bob over their head, it means they are not doing well, and we need to check on their needs to see if we can make them feel better. I'm going to let Lorraine go to the toilet now. So I've clicked on the toilet we have here in her bathroom. I've pressed use, and you can see use is now over in her queue. Also, just quickly having a look at her mood, she is in a playful mood. She does have this playful, feeling playful moodlet, but you'll see there's also this little line of red that's here as well. It says click to expand. If we click on that, you'll then see the same has to pee that we saw just before with the bladder bar as well. So you really get the most information about how our sim is feeling at multiple different places on the screen. But go to the toilet, Lorraine. You're totally fine. You'll see now that she's going to the toilet, her bar is filling. Also, something to note, I am going to get you to look at Lorraine sitting on the toilet. And that's because there is no nudity in The Sims 4, obviously. There is this pixelated set of squares. The same thing happens in the shower. You can't see anything. It's all pixelated squares. So again, I'm not going to go through all of the different needs and ways to make them feel better. So you can see our Sim's hunger is getting a little bit lower as well, but I'm not going to go over feeding our Sim, making them feel better. I encourage you to do that yourself. Hover over each of these bars. It'll tell you what they mean and things that you can do to make them feel better, because there's more that I need to show you down in this bottom right corner. So I'm going to skip along to this button here, this head button that says Simology. This tab tells us all of the information about our Sim's personality. So we've got Lorraine Sanders, it says here, if we hover over that, days till age up 27. We have 27 days until Lorraine's birthday, which is fantastic. You'll see at the beginning of this bar, it says that she is a young adult. We do have this little slither of green, and as our Sim gets closer to her birthday, to becoming an adult, this bar will fill up fully green. Next to this bar, this age bar, we have this button here, which is show Lorraine's genealogy, which will bring up her family tree. If you are playing with a big family, it'll show like a full family tree here, but Lorraine isn't related to anyone in this gameplay, so it's just her. And then next to the genealogy button, we've got this button here that looks like a graph, and it is statistics. It's going to tell you things like how many meals your Sim has cooked, how many times they've been kissed, bathroom breaks they've taken, how many deaths they've witnessed, how many times they were feeling any of these moods. Having a look here though, we have traits. These are all of the traits that Lorraine has. If you watched my Create a Sim video, we actually picked Hank's traits, and if we click on Hank now and have a look at Hank's traits, these are all of the traits that we chose for Hank, and they are listed here just to help you keep a track of the personality that our Sim has. If we scroll down, we have this tab which is Preferences, which talks about things that our Sim likes and dislikes. In Create a Sim, you can actually choose those things, but also throughout the gameplay, occasionally you'll be given a message to say, Hank seems to be really enjoying cooking, for example. Would you say that he likes cooking? Or Hank seems to not be enjoying exercising right now. Would you say he dislikes working out? And we'll have the option to say yes or no to those things to help further define our Sim. You also have the option to enter Create a Sim from here and choose some likes and dislikes if you haven't already. Having a look further down, again, keep scrolling down, we've got relationship preferences here. These are things that you can set up in order to define our Sim's sexual orientation and how they prefer expressing love and receiving love. Do they feel jealous when their partner talks in a flirting way to another Sim, or do they only feel jealous when they physically see their partner kissing another Sim or having some intimate time with another Sim? So again, you can choose all of these things in Create a Sim. If you haven't chosen them, you get the option again to go into Create a Sim and choose them for your Sim. Having a look at this button here, this is the inventory button. If we click on that, it's going to show us if our Sim puts something in their pocket. I just went into the bookshelf and I grabbed a book from the bookshelf and I put it in his pocket. So Hank now has Lucas Dark and the Increasingly Unlikely Series of Coincidences book in his pocket. So as your Sim is going through life, they may accumulate things, they may pick up some things by going to work or by interacting with other people. They may receive gifts, they might get things from the mailbox, and they will put them in their inventory, which is essentially their pocket. They carry these things with them wherever they go. To take something out of your Sims inventory, you can literally click on it and just drag it out onto the floor and it will take it out of your Sims inventory, and you can do the same by dragging it into your Sims inventory as well, and there it will be. And with that being said, there's a couple of objects within the game that also have an inventory. Things like the bookcase here. If I click on the bookcase and I press open, you'll see that above our Sims inventory, there is this items in the Intellectual Illusion wall mounted bookshelf. So that is what this bookshelf is called. And these are the different books that are currently in the bookshelf. So say I wanted to choose Orbital Pudding and I wanted to put that in Hank's inventory, I can click and drag it down into Hank's inventory. And same with if he's finished reading the book and I would like to put it back in the bookshelf, I can click and drag it, put it back in the inventory just like that. When you're done with that, you can press on the X at the top and it will close out of the bookcase. Things like the fridge also have similar inventory things like that as well. You can also sell things that are in your inventory. So say I don't want Crisis Barn anymore. I want to sell it. I don't want it in my Sims inventory, but I don't want to put it back in the bookshelf. I don't want this book at all. I'm going to click and hold onto it, and you'll see down at the very bottom, there's this little cash register symbol, and it says drop the item here to sell. So if I let go of the book while hovered over this little panel here, it will then get this message that says, do you want to sell this item? And I'm going to press OK. And we just gained 1 simoleon from selling that book. Now, also within the inventory panel, we'll be seeing there's this little household collections button here, this jewel. I'm not going to go into details, but basically there's different collectibles that your Sims can pick up throughout the game. There's a whole heap of them. There's 19 different collection types. And you can collect so many different things. You get little in-game achievements for collecting all of the collectibles. It is a challenge. I have never collected everything myself, but there are a couple of collections that I have completed in my own gameplays. I'm not going to go into details of what they are. Maybe that's something you could explore yourself, because if you open one, say we'll just open frogs for a minute. It has this list, and because we haven't found any frogs yet, there's none here. But if we hover over the collection type, it tells you where to find these collection items and how to find them. And when you do find them, they'll go into your Sims inventory and they will also show up in this list. They'll have a listing here. It'll tell you how common it is from being common to being rare, and it'll tell you more details about the item that you found. If you're interested in being maybe a completionist, maybe you want to collect all the collectibles, that'll be fun. We've still got a few more icons to look at down in this bottom right corner though. The next one is this image of 2 people, and it is the relationships panel. And here we're going to see all of the Sims that we know and how we feel about them, essentially. Whether we're friends, whether we're in relationships with them, whether we don't like them at all. And I've got 2 great examples right here. We currently are looking at the people that Hank knows. He knows Lorraine, alright? If we hover over Lorraine's picture, it's going to give us the details that we know about Lorraine. Things like we know she's a young adult, we know she currently is unemployed, we know that she has the traits goofball, hates children, and active. And then you'll see down the bottom where Lorraine's name is, it's got this little picture here that says lovebirds, because they do have a slightly romantic relationship. And we do have this green bar here and this pink bar here. The green bar is our friendship level, like how friendly we are with this Sim, and then the pink bar is actually a romantic bar. How romantic do we feel about this Sim, basically? To get more information on how we feel about Lorraine, we can click on her portrait and we can press open profile. And if we open profile, it's going to make this a little bit bigger. We can see her fully standing here. We get a little bit more information about Lorraine, like the fact that she is a high school graduate. She graduated from high school with an average class rank, and also about Hank's relationship with Lorraine. So it says that she is his partner, dating, exclusivity, a relationship. Yes, that is what is happening with Lorraine. It also says that they are lovebirds, but we get a little bit more information about what lovebirds actually means. It says a connection of curious hearts. This is shaping up to be a beautiful romance. So it's basically saying when you first start dating someone and you don't know them in a super romantic way just yet, but there's so much to explore with this person, so much to learn about this person, so much to experience with this person. That's the stage that Hank and Lorraine are currently at. And as we develop their relationship, these bars will get fuller or emptier depending on how we interact with them. So if we do a lot of mean interactions with Lorraine, then maybe this green friendship bar is going to become a bit red, like Johnny Zest here. Johnny Zest is another sim that exists within the neighborhood that we are currently living in. He came to our door before and I didn't answer, and that is why we have a slightly red bar with Johnny. So if we take a look at Johnny, all we know about Johnny Zest at this point is that he is a high school graduate. We know that he is our neighbor, and we know that we are neither friends nor foes. It's just an average relationship, but we also know that it's a slightly negative relationship because this bar is a friendship bar, and with it being slightly red, it means that it's a slightly negative relationship. There are different ways to filter between all of the sims that you know. As your sims go about living life, they will come across more people, and this relationship panel can become quite full. So having a look at these other buttons here, you can filter all of the people that you are seeing here. You can choose to only see the people we are friends with, and all of a sudden Johnny Zest goes away and Lorraine is here because we're friends with Lorraine, or people that are living in our household, or people that we are romantic with, or people that are our family, and Lorraine actually goes away because we're not married to Lorraine, she's not considered family, or people that we know from work will show up in under business as well. There's a few more buttons down here on the right hand side though. The next one is the skills button. This is where we get to see all of the things that our sims know how to do. As our sims go about living life, there are different things that they can learn, especially things like when our sims are cooking meals, they'll learn the cooking skill, and that will show up here. Because Hank hasn't cooked any meals, he doesn't know how to cook yet, so it doesn't show here. But we do see a couple of skills here, charisma and comedy for starters. If we hover over each of these, it will tell us exactly what it means that our sim has this skill. So having the comedy skill basically means that our sim is good at telling jokes, is good at being a funny sim. And we can do different things, use different things, and use different social interactions with other sims in order to build the comedy skill. I'm not going to go over every single skill your sims can learn because there is so many. You'll learn probably more about skills when it comes to getting a job for your sim, because a part of getting a job, your sims are going to need to learn specific skills in order to progress within that job. So that's a great way to learn about different skills actually, is through getting a job for your sim, which I will go over in just a moment. The last thing I need to say about skills though is on the right hand side of the skills here, we do have the numbers 1, and that tells us the level that our sim is at each of these different skills. So the fact that Hank is level 1 at comedy and charisma tells us that he's really not very good at it at all. He knows the absolute most basics. He doesn't really know very much about it at all, honestly, and we should do more in order to raise these skills. A majority of the skills that your sims can learn go up to level 10, and level 10 is professional, but there are also some skills that only go to level 5. And level 5 then is the most professional for those skills. But the next panel that we've got here is this briefcase is the career. So Hank currently does not have a job. We have multiple options in getting a job for him. We can press this button that says join a career. You also have an option in the mobile phone. We can find a job from the business app in the phone as well. If your sim has a computer in their house, they can use their computer to find a job as well. But I'm just going to press join a career right here. We have the option to select a career for Hank. And if we have a look down on the left side of this panel here, these are all of the different jobs that are available in the base game to choose from for our sims. Very, very exciting. I'm not going to go through all of them, so I encourage you to have a look at each different career. You'll see there's a little picture and it gives the job title and also a little description about the career. And also each different career that we see listed here has 2 separate career branches. careers. And basically at like level 5 or level 6 of the career, they'll be given the option to choose which branch they want to take of the career. It's very exciting. It also gives you information as the position that is currently being hired for the job, how much they'll be paid an hour in that job, the hours that they will work, and the days that they will work. Specifically having a look at the astronaut career, for example, they're hiring an intern, which is the very first level of the astronaut career. In the intern position, you'd be paid 26 simoleons an hour. You work from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Mondays through Fridays. When having a look at different careers, there'll be different days that our sim works for. For example, in the criminal career, they work every single day as a tough guy. But then there's some careers, like for example, the tech guru career, where they work Tuesday through Saturday and they have Sunday and Monday off of work. You can always tell based on the days that are colored red. The days that are colored red throughout the week are the days that they do not work. So then down here, you'll be seeing there's these options, these job options that have this star, and that's because I haven't clicked on them before. And you'll see they have these little briefcase symbols next to them. That's because these jobs are actually part-time jobs. All of the jobs that don't have the briefcases next to them are full-time jobs. But the part-time jobs, we have options over what time of day we would actually like to work those jobs. For example, for the babysitter part-time job, the days of week that they work, so this job only occurs on a Saturday and a Sunday. It does not happen throughout the week. It's only on the weekends. And in the middle here, you'll see it says 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. But because this is a part-time job, we actually have the option over whether we would like to choose to do it at 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. or to do it from 6 p.m. to 12 a.m. There's multiple options. And it's the same, for example, the fast food employee. We can choose whether we would like to do this job from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. or from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. To easier see which jobs are the full-time jobs and which ones are the part-time jobs, up the very top here, underneath where it says select a career for Hank, we've got this one that we are currently have highlighted, which shows all of the careers. And then we've got this briefcase with a clock symbol, and this is the full-time careers. It shows you all of the careers that are full-time careers, and then the two briefcases over here are the part-time careers, so you can filter by what type of job you're looking for. Once you've selected the career that you would like your sim to have, press on the tick, and the job panel now changes to show the details of the job that we have just selected. Also up in the top right of the screen, we got this message to say that Hank is now an intern at Space Y. He starts work on Monday at 8 o'clock a.m. But back down in the jobs panel though, and I'm just going to click on these two little lines we see at the top here. I'm going to click on that and I'm going to pull it up, which will resize this entire panel so we can see all of the information. Here we have all of the information of our job listing, right? So we get to see here, if we hover over the astronaut icon, we can see that he is an astronaut and in brackets 1. That means he's at level 1 of the astronaut career. We see the details that come with his job, like the fact that he gets paid 26 simoleons an hour, and the fact that he actually does have 3 vacation days available to him. If we decide that we want him to have one of these days off, we could do that for him. It shows that he works from 8 o'clock till 5 o'clock. It shows that he does start his first shift in 16 hours from now. Then we have this bar here. This is the promotion bar, which basically tells us how our sim is performing at the job. Because Hank hasn't gone to work yet, he starts in this green, which is the average bar. If he misses work or he comes home early from work, he may slip back into the orange and then the red, and that's when he has the potential of getting fired from his job. But if he goes to work and he works hard at work and he does good things while at work, he may progress into the green and then the highest green of this bar. When this little triangle gets to the end of the bar, this tick will become gold, and when that tick becomes gold, that means your sim's gonna get a promotion, which is happy days, more money coming your way. Underneath this bar, we have what is the daily task. And basically this daily task is something that our sim can do in order to prepare for work. It will also help in gaining their performance, their job performance, and getting closer towards getting a promotion. So for Hank, because he's in the astronaut career, the daily task is for him to play chess. So depending on what job your sim has taken, the daily task will be different. Like if your sim joins the culinary career, they will not be playing chess in the culinary career. It might even be just to cook a meal, will probably be for that one. You'll get a different daily task depending on the career that your sim has chosen. It also tells us how close we are to completing that task. Like at the moment, we haven't started playing chess, but if we were to start playing chess, it would eventually tell us that we're a quarter of the way through, 25%, or 50% of the way through, 75% of the way through, or when it says complete, it means that you have finished the daily task and you don't need to do that task anymore. When your sim has a job, if we have a look back over at the phone really quickly and we go into the business app, there's different options that we have in the phone now that Hank has a job. You'll see that we can take a vacation day, which is what this panel over here is talking about. Vacation days available 3 days. So if we decide that we want him to take a vacation day from work, we would press that option and he would call work and say, hey, I'm taking tomorrow off. And they will be like, yep, no worries, that's fine. You can take tomorrow off because you've got 3 vacation days available. We also have the option to find a job, which I'm pretty sure we have the option to either replace the full-time career we've got or to add a part-time job to work at different hours to what we are currently working as an intern. Or we have the option to quit our job if we're not happy with this job. The last thing I have to show you on the bottom right hand of the screen though is this panel here. We've got this globe here. If we click on that, this is the aspiration that we chose for Hank. He wants to be a friend of the world. This is something he wants to achieve for his lifetime. His lifetime aspiration is to be a friend of the world. We are given a list of different tasks throughout the aspiration for our sim to complete. This will make him happy. He would like to have 3 friends. We do already have 1 with Lorraine. He would like to introduce himself to 10 different sims. Depending on what aspiration you choose for your sim, you're going to have different tasks to complete in order to make your sim happy. We do have the option to change our sim's aspiration if we decide we're not happy with the one that we've chosen. Also, if you complete a sim's aspiration, because eventually you'll complete every task that is required to become a friend of the world. And when that happens, you have the option to select a new aspiration as well. So if we would like to do that, we can click on the select new aspiration button and then we'll get shown all of the different aspiration types up the top here that we can choose between. So say I wanted to change to maybe deviance. Let's see what we can do under deviance. We have 3 different aspirations to choose from under deviance. We can have a look at the details of what these aspirations are. And we can also have a look at the different tasks that are required in order to achieve this aspiration for our sim. When you find an aspiration you would like your sim to have, press the tick and then this bar will change to that new aspiration we have just chosen. You can change aspirations as many times as you like throughout your sim's life. It's totally fine. There's no penalty for that. Nothing bad will happen if you do that. It's just about exploring and experiencing new gameplay for your sims. Down the bottom of this tab though, you'll be seeing Hank's satisfaction, 0, and reward stored. You remember before when I said doing these tasks will make our sim happy? And do you also remember when I said before that doing these whims will make our sims happy? This satisfaction is what I mean when I say that doing those things will make our sims happy. Achieving these tasks as a part of the aspiration will give our sim satisfaction points that they can spend in the reward store. And you can get a whole bunch of really fun and interesting things in the reward store for your sim. We'll take a brief look in a moment. But when it comes to whims specifically, if we have a look at something that Hank wants to do, for example, he wants to buy a dishwasher. You'll see underneath where it says buy a dishwasher from being materialistic, it has this little angled plumb bob and the number 50 next to it. That means that if we buy a dishwasher, Hank's going to get 50 satisfaction points. And there's different amounts of things. For example, for Lorraine, if we got her to go for a jog, she would get 25 satisfaction points. So doing whims and also achieving tasks that we have as a part of our sim's aspirations go towards our sim's satisfaction. And as our sim's satisfaction points add up, we can then check out the reward store. And there's a whole lot of different rewards here. They all do different things. Interesting gameplay for your sims. Again, I'm not going to go through what all of the rewards are. I encourage you to check them out for yourself. Some of them are really cheap and only cost 100 satisfaction points or 200 satisfaction points. And then the most expensive that we got are 10,000 satisfaction points. And they do big things for our sims. When I play The Sims, this is just me specifically what I do. I generally always have the needs panel open just so I can very quickly and easily see what's going on with my sim. I don't have to question whether they're hungry, whether they're tired, whether their bladder's low. I can just immediately see it just over the side of the screen. It's up to you whether you want to keep it open. You don't have to. If you decide that you don't want to keep this panel open, just click again on the little needs button down below and it will disappear, and then it's just as simple as clicking on it again to bring it back. Having a look at the top right of the screen, we've got a whole host of buttons here, okay? The most important button is this 3 dots up in the right hand corner. This is the options menu. This is where we go to save our game. So we've got the option to save the game or save as. Saving as will create a new save slot, so I don't recommend going save as. If you're only playing with one sim game at a time, just press save because that's totally fine. That's all you need to do. The options menu is also where we have our game options for things like our graphics settings, for our audio settings, for gameplay settings and things like that as well, which I briefly talked about in the Create a Sim video. It's all very specific to your computer, especially when it comes to graphics. Like, I can't tell you what graphics settings to go on because you're going to have a different computer to what I have. So I encourage you to do a little bit of research about the computer you're playing on and figuring out what kind of graphics settings your computer would actually be able to handle. Other things like technical support I've never needed. I think that's like getting in contact with EA if you have an issue. I think that's what that means. Lessons are things like tutorials. So if you want more information than what I've been able to give you as a part of these videos, you can always go into lessons and receive some tutorials from the game itself. It's a great option if you're unsure or if you still have questions. Say, for example, I'm not going to be talking about building in The Sims, but maybe you'd like to check out the build mode section of the lessons and have a look at the different lessons that they've got under build mode, just because I'm not going to be talking about that in this series. So it's up to you. And then we do also have other things like in-game achievements. If perhaps you're a bit of a completionist yourself or you like to keep track of achievements in-game, this is where you'll see the achievements that you have achieved, which currently I haven't achieved any of them because we've only just started. So I haven't achieved anything, but if you have achieved them, they won't have a lock next to them, basically. There are different categories based on the type of achievements that you can achieve. It's just interesting to have a look at the different things that you can achieve because it then can give you a goal to work towards. And then we have things like exiting the game. We can choose to exit to the main menu or we can choose to just exit the game completely. But I'm not gonna do that because there's more buttons that I need to tell you about, okay? I know, I'm talking so much about buttons. There's so many buttons, there's so many different things to choose, alright? There's so many things to look at. This button here next to the 3 dots is the notification wall. As we're playing the game, things like earning in-game achievements or when Hank got a job before comes up as a notification, and this is where notifications are stored. So if we have a look, we actually have a few notifications in here just from playing this save. So Lorraine earned the mischief skill apparently, which is fantastic. She also got the fitness skill. I took some screenshots and some video before when I showed you how to do that. That's a notification that came up. As they're happening within the game, they'll just pop up on the right side of your screen anyway. You won't have to do anything and they will go away on their own. But if you see a notification and then it goes away before you can fully see what it says, if you press on this little notification wall button, it'll bring up the notification so that you can actually take some time to look at it. Then we have this camera button here, and this is camera controls. It's all about how we are viewing our game. There's multiple different options, right? So firstly, we've got a zoom in and zoom out button. So I'm pretty zoomed in. Here we go. If we press on that, I am now zoomed in as far as you possibly can. And if we press on the zoom out button, I am now as far zoomed out as I possibly can be. We can also zoom in and out using our keyboard. You press the Z button on your keyboard to zoom in. You can hold it to zoom all the way in, and then you can press the X button on your keyboard to zoom out, and you can tap it or you can hold it to go further quicker. And we are zoomed out again. So using your keyboard, I just feel is easier because like I said, I'm doing things with my right hand on the mouse and then it's just easier to use the keyboard shortcuts for me. We also have these arrow options here, which is all about rotating the screen. If we click and hold on these buttons, it's just going to keep rotating the screen. So it's all well and good to use these buttons, but again, we can use keyboard shortcuts. They are the angled brackets. Like you'll see there's like the triangle, almost half triangle that's pointing that way, and then the half triangle that's pointing the other way. If you find those buttons on your keyboard, then you can press those and it will also rotate the screen. And I feel like that's super easy because I feel like you've got more control of it using the keyboard than you do from using these buttons. Like these, if I press this once, that's going to go pretty far. But if I use the keyboard and I give it just a light tap, it's not going to go very far at all. So I feel like you've just got more control of it with the keyboard than by clicking those buttons. There's these 3 camera buttons, okay? Now this is, again, going to be based on your personal preference. I encourage you to press each of these camera buttons and see how you feel about how the camera works with each of these different settings. These are just different settings for how you're able to view the game. As you get used to controlling the screen, there's different things that you can do with your mouse to help make things a little bit more seamless and experience. When you have the Sims 4 camera selected, if you're looking at your mouse, if I click and hold with my left mouse button and then I move my mouse around, I can actually move the screen like this with my mouse. Right? That's pretty cool, right? If I click where my scroll wheel is on my mouse, if I click that down and then move my mouse, I can move the screen like this, right? Also very cool. If I click and hold with the right mouse button and then move my mouse, I can rotate the screen like that. That's what happens with the Sims 4 camera. With the Sims 3 camera, it's just slightly different, right? Like if I click my left mouse button, and I move my mouse around, nothing happens. If I click and hold with my scroll wheel and then move my screen, that's what rotates the screen. And if I click and hold with my right mouse button, that's what moves the screen in this direction. So it's just slightly different things that you can do between the Sims 4 camera and the Sims 3 camera with your mouse and how you're viewing the game. And that's all based on personal preference. I personally prefer the Sims 3 camera, but that's because I played the Sims 3 and I'm very used to how I was able to play in the Sims 3. So the Sims 4 camera might be more beneficial to you, okay? So have a play around with both of those things. It's all to do with your mouse. So have a play around with that, see what you like better. And with that being said, I should say, I mean like a proper wired mouse. I'm not talking about with your laptop mouse. I don't know about those settings on a laptop, actually. That would be interesting. I'm assuming that if you have a left and right mouse button on your laptop mouse pad, that they would work the same as the left and right buttons on a wired mouse. But then I'm not sure what would happen with the scroll wheel options, because those options wouldn't exist on a laptop mouse pad. Interesting. Let me know in the comments down below, fellow expert Sims players, if you know about these settings on a laptop's mouse pad, please. Then in the middle, we have free camera, which basically what that means, it takes away all of the UI, which is all of like our Sims details, all of the buttons that we have seen on the screen, it takes them away. And then if I click and hold and move my mouse around, we can take a look at like the world around us without any of the UI being on the screen. And then I guess if we press escape, that'll take us back to normal. I only ever use the Sims 3 camera, but that is personal preference, and I recommend checking out the differences between the Sims 4 camera and the Sims 3 camera for yourself. Next to the camera controls, we have the help center, which again is lessons. We've got the option to turn on tutorials for basic controls or have a look at the lessons that I showed you in the options menu before. If I were to turn on the tutorial, Emily here is the tutorial sim. She will show you things as well. So again, if you want some more information than what I've been able to give you, maybe check out the tutorial. This house button that we have here is the center on current lot button, which it's going to sound really weird. But basically, if I am looking over here, say I've come over here with my sim and I'm perhaps a little bit lost and I can't see where my house is anymore. If I press the center on current lot button, it's going to bring us back to our house. It's great for if you're getting a bit lost. So then we've got this button here. This is the walls button, and it basically shows us how we are viewing our house. Like right now, you'll see we've got some walls that are fully up, and then we've got these walls around here that are not up at all, meaning we are able to see inside this house. There's multiple different settings for this. We have the option to have the walls down completely, which is this walls down view. Then we've got the option to have walls cut away, which is what I personally play with. I like to be able to see the walls, the windows, any artwork that I have put on the walls, so it makes it feel a little bit more realistic. But I also like to be able to see what my Sims are doing, because if we further go through, the next setting is to have all the walls up, and you can see it's just a little bit harder to see what's going on, right? It's just a little bit difficult. So I prefer walls cut away, and specifically one thing I really like about walls cut away is if I rotate the screen, the walls will change. Like you'll see the walls that were up here are now down, and the walls that were down over here are now up because I've changed my view. So I just prefer walls cutaway view, but I also for the longest time played with my walls completely down. So again, it's all about finding the setting that works for you and how you want to play your game. Next to the walls cutaway button, we have this up and down arrow. So this basically is going up a floor. Because our house is a single story house, we don't have a floor to go down to. If I were to press go up, it would take us to the roof. If I put the walls up while we're in looking at the roof, we can then see our entire house. And then pressing the go down to lower floor button will take us down to the actual house where our Sims are, and I can put my walls back to cut away again. The next button that we're looking at is the shopping trolley. I think that you can probably guess what that's going to mean. The shopping trolley, it's all about buying, but it's not about buying furniture for your Sims. It's about buying packs that you don't perhaps own. Now, I personally do own every single pack except for The Sims 4 Life and Death. It is not currently released yet, and I could pre-order it, but I'm just going to buy it when it comes out anyway, so it's fine. So if you only have the base game, if you press on the shopping trolley, which is the packs you may like button, it's going to let you scroll through all of the packs that you don't have. It's going to show you the information about what comes with that pack, how much it costs, and you can buy it directly from the game. Alrighty, this light bulb you may be familiar with if you watched my Create a Sim for Beginners video, because this button is the gallery. We had a look at the gallery in the Create a Sim video, and we actually downloaded Lorraine from the gallery. You can do the same thing for houses. If we open the gallery, we have the option to filter by lots, which is going to show us all of the buildings that people have built. So if I wanted to download a new house to go on this lot that we've moved into, we can do that. We can choose one from the gallery and put it on the lot that we are currently living in. So I've selected lots. We've got some lots here. We then have the option to choose a size of lot, and it tells us the current size of our lot that we are currently living on. So I can then filter to only look at houses that are going to fit on the lot that we are currently living on. And then we can choose a price, because currently we don't have a budget selected, but we don't have very much money left. So if I go from 0 to 10,000 simoleons, it's going to show us all of the houses that are within our budget. We can also filter by most popular, popular now, and newest, just like we could for Sims in the Create a Sim video. So I'm just going to scroll through until I see one that I think I like. So I actually really like the look of this base game family shell. It's an empty home, but that's okay. I think I'm going to place this lot actually. So in order to place this lot down, I'm going to press the place lot button, and it's going to ask us whether we would like to place it down furnished or unfurnished. I'm going to press furnished. Whatever furniture is currently there, I would like to keep. So then I'm going to press the tick again, and it's going to remove the house that's here. It's going to give us some money back for it, and it's going to place down the lot that we have downloaded from the gallery. So this is our new home. This is actually an adorable little house. I love it. I don't think it fits in with the vibes of Oasis Springs, which, by the way, hello Barry, the Brontosaurus right there. But it is a very cute house, and I feel like this would be a great way for me to show you the button that we looked at just a moment ago. These arrows, they go up to next floor and they go down to lower floor, because now we do have multiple floors to look at. So we're currently on what we would call in Australia the ground floor, the first floor of the house. If I press the up arrow, it'll take us to the second floor of the house, because there is an upstairs to this house. And then pressing the down arrow will take us back down to the first floor. You guys, I think that's where I'm going to end this video of The Sims 4 for beginners. My voice is about to give out. I've done a lot of talking in this video and I've given you a lot of information. There is still going to be one more video on The Sims 4 for beginners, at least one, maybe two. It depends on how the next video goes, because I would like to look at the basics of build mode with you guys. There's also the manage worlds button that I didn't show you in this video, and I would like to have a look at the basics of beginning gameplay as well with you, going over how to interact with other Sims, creating social events, things like hosting birthday parties or other parties, social events that we can organize within our calendar that I mentioned in this video. I also didn't talk about community lots in this video as well, so there's still so much that I need to share with you guys, and I hope that you will hang around for that. With that being said, if you would like to see more of me, the next part of my Sims 4 for beginners video, or any other Sims content that I've got coming your way, hit the subscribe button down below and hit the notification bell next to it to be notified of every time that I upload, so that you don't miss when the next installment of The Sims 4 for beginners comes out. But guys, if you liked this video, let me know by hitting the like button down below and leave me a comment as well. Let me know if this video was helpful for you, and like I mentioned before, for other expert Sims players that may be watching this video, leave some more tips or some more knowledge, some more information that I didn't include about the topics I discussed today in the comments down below, so that maybe the beginners can have some more information. And also beginners, if you have some questions, leave them in the comments down below. Maybe some of the experts watching can help answer them for you, and if I'm able to, I'll be able to answer them for you as well. But guys, I hope you're having the greatest day ever. I will see you in the next video, and happy simming. Bye!